My boyfriend prepared an engagement ring, but the person he proposed to wasn't me. You're just a little secretary, don't think you can aim too high. The proposed first love laughed at my overestimation of myself. Even my boyfriend's mother looks at me like an ant. Marriage should be between equals, and you're not worthy. Well, the few 100 million in my boyfriend's family and the few billion in my family are indeed very mismatched. I turned around and made a phone call. Dad, hand over the acquisition of that small company we discussed before to me. Chapter 1. I noticed the ring a month ago. But I pretended not to know, burying the surprise in my heart, waiting only for the day Kent would propose to me. At this moment, Kent knelt down on one knee, devoutly holding up the ring. Cheers erupted around, the leading lady shyly excitedly covered her mouth, happiness overflowing from her eyes. Kent said, "Marry me, Monica." Monica? My name is Amanda. Everyone knows I am Kent's secretary. Over the past 3 years at Chandler Group when it was on the brink of crisis, I stood by Kent's side, working tirelessly, helping him secure project after project. Slowly pulling the company back from the edge of bankruptcy until it went public in Hong Kong 6 months ago. Kent told me, "Amanda, I owe you, once the company goes public, I will announce to the world that you, Amanda, are my fiancé. I want to give you a grand wedding." At that time, I was truly blinded by happiness. Looking back now, was it all just empty promises? I laughed at my own foolishness, how many years I loved Kent, how many years Kent used me. Kent placed the diamond ring on Monica's ring finger, and the two embraced. Through the crowd, Monica looked at me, the smile in her eyes slowly deepening, the smile of a victor. Kent let go of Monica, turned slowly to look at me, the smile on his lips gradually fading, his expression serious. Well, this is the man I've loved for 3 years. Even now, he doesn't have the courage to talk things through with me. Or maybe Monica has the courage. Holding a wine glass, she walked towards me, raising her glass in a toast. "Miss Harrington, hello, I'm Monica." I remained silent. Monica smiled gently. "I heard from Kent about what happened between you two. He's very grateful for your help over the years. He means, how much money do you want, just name it." That really made me laugh. Money? Can he afford it? Monica picked up a glass of wine from the nearby table and handed it to me. "Have a drink, consider it a blessing for us. Ignorance is bliss." I couldn't help but laugh at Monica's ignorance. Seemingly sensing my disdain, Monica's victorious expression finally couldn't be maintained. People, once they feel guilty, easily turn ugly. Monica stepped closer, leaned in towards my ear, and in a voice only we could hear, she said, "Amanda, I know what you feel for Kent, but you're just a little secretary, don't think you can aim too high." Kent's parents also arrived. Kent's mother spoke with an arrogant tone. "Amanda, I think you can see that the person who is worthy of Kent has returned. Actually, even if Monica didn't come back, I wouldn't allow someone like you to marry into our Chandler family. You should know, class differences are insurmountable." I fell into thought. Class differences? With their mere billions in assets? I chuckled softly. "All right, then you better keep your class differences intact. After all, I have the ability to lift you up high and also to bring you crashing down." Chapter 2. I saw Kent again the next morning at the company meeting. He was clearly avoiding me, not even daring to look into my eyes. With everyone present, the meeting began. I sat below Kent, supposed to be taking meeting notes, but today, I remained still. I lightly clapped my hands twice to draw everyone's attention. "Everyone, I have an announcement to make. I am resigning from the position of CEO's secretary. Here is my resignation letter." I placed the letter on the meeting table and continued speaking amidst the shocked gazes. "Thank you all for your support over these past 3 years. Farewell." As the words fell, I walked out without even looking at Kent. I heard someone say, "CEO, Miss Harrington has made significant contributions to the company over these 3 years. Without Miss Harrington, how could the company have gone public so quickly? What is going on? Kent followed me out, his breath heavy. Amanda, if you resigned because of me, I'll give you a raise. How much money do you want? I'll give it to you. He was flustered. I smirked. Then give me the company. Kent closed his eyes. I know you resent me, but Amanda, business is business, personal is personal. You've worked in the company these years, have I mistreated you? But I like to blur the lines between business and personal. Kent paused, a bit of the seriousness melting off his face, replaced by a cold, indifferent look. Amanda, do you want to be at odds with me? I leaned in. Are you trying to threaten me? I just think that our relationship shouldn't deteriorate to such an irreparable state. I know I owe you an explanation and a favor, I'll give them to you. But Amanda, we shouldn't become enemies, it won't benefit you. I patiently listened to him, then smiled and replied. You do owe me, but I don't need you to give it. I have the ability to take it back bit by bit on my own. We will meet again, Kent. I waved my hand, went back to pack my things, and left the company. Tossing those things into the trash, I called my dad. I'm interested in the Chandler Group acquisition case we discussed before. Hand it over to me. I went straight to the company, my dad was waiting for me in the office. I know it all, a small family like ours is not suitable for you. Your mom and I have said this countless times. Now you should also know, they are just a bunch of wolves in sheep's clothing. Daughter, I don't want you to soften your heart again. I won't. Of course, the reason I won't soften my heart is not because Kent proposed to someone else, not because I discovered Kent doesn't love me at all. But because I also realized that man is not worthy of me. But my dad doesn't seem to believe me. The company is planning to collaborate with the Vanderbilt Group recently. If you really want me to believe you, marry Patrick. This is asking me to marry? Chapter 3. I agreed to the marriage. This will be a huge benefit for both of us, and I naturally can't let it slip by. Anyway, all I want now is profit. As for Patrick, he's a businessman too, naturally understanding the interests involved, so we both agreed immediately. After signing the prenuptial agreement, we went to register. Coming out of the Civil Affairs Bureau with the marriage certificate, I asked Patrick. Are you going back to the company? I want to discuss our cooperation projects with you and get started as soon as possible. Patrick, with a nearly perfect face, but with a not-so-good personality, cold and aloof, always maintaining a distant aura. From discussing the marriage to getting married now, I have never seen him smile. This time, Patrick slowly spoke, his voice calm and without warmth. I'm going on a business trip. Okay, we'll talk when you get back. I opened the car door and got in. As I fastened my seatbelt, Patrick's driver had already started the engine and driven off. I returned to the company with the marriage certificate and went straight to the chairman's office, placing the certificate on his desk. Certificate obtained, you can rest assured now. My dad nodded. How did you arrange things with the Chandler Group? Before I could speak, my dad continued. It's not time to announce your marriage to Patrick yet, but if you want to give the Chandler Group a head start, there are many ways to do so. I smiled, my dad truly understood me. I was indeed considering giving the Chandler Group a head start, and I already had a plan. I've built a lot of connections in the Chandler Group over these 3 years. I'll slowly reclaim those connections, so for now, I plan to start my own company and compete with the Chandler Group. As for acquisition, there's no rush. My dad nodded. I trust you. The company is still under control here, you can play for a few more years. Thank you, Dad. No acquisition for now, starting a company and challenging Kent, seizing market share, yes, it's just a game. Chapter 4. I spread the news of registering my company, and soon Kent's side found out. I don't really mind the downgrade in social circles, it's all just a game anyway. But Kent's friends said I was overestimating myself. Upon learning of my marriage, my best friend Novia really wanted to interview me, so she invited me to a bar for drinks. You're really marrying Patrick like this? This is too absurd, I can't accept it. Novia is the family's little princess, showered with all the love, not needing to manage the company, just spending money every day. She once told me that she must marry the person she loves the most, have a grand dreamy forest wedding, broadcasted globally. In fact, Patrick and I are just meant to be together. In this world, the only ones who can match us are each other. Handsome and beautiful, equal in strength, getting what we need, who says Patrick and I are not a good match? Kent's good buddy, Harry, arrived at this moment, still holding a girl in his arms, not the same one I saw a couple of days ago. With a glass of wine in hand, he released the girl when he saw me and sat down beside me, saying, "Isn't this our great Harrington secretary? Impressive, resigned, that takes guts." I raised my glass towards him, signaling. "Well, thank you for the praise." Harry fell silent. After a moment, he chuckled. "Amanda, do you really think I'm praising you?" "No, I heard you're planning to start a company?" "Trying to compete with Kent? Have you had too much to drink, alcohol poisoning perhaps? Are you okay? I've never seen such an overconfident girl like you." He sighed, shaking his head. "I know Kent and Monica have reconciled and even got engaged. You must be heartbroken, sad. Speaking of which, you really are a pitiful little thing. How about this, you take care of your brother, and I'll help you plead with Kent to give you a way out, how about that?" I picked up a bottle of champagne and shook it. Harry, still as wild as ever, just a bit foul-mouthed. "Here, I'm tired today, I'll give you a free wash." With a loud pop, the cork of the champagne bottle burst out, the champagne inside turning into a water pillar, spraying directly towards Harry, catching him off guard and splashing on his face. I dropped the bottle, raised my foot, and stepped on Harry's chest, putting a bit of pressure with the high heel. "How's that? Enjoying it? Want another bottle? Sister has plenty of money, whatever you want." Chapter 5. Harry wiped his face, glaring at me angrily. "Amanda, don't be so arrogant. You used to have Kent protecting you, so you didn't realize your place. Now that your talisman is gone, the money you earned from Kent isn't enough for you to show off in front of me. Just wait and see, I'll show you what class and capital mean, don't accuse me of bullying you later." I retracted my foot. "All right, I'll be waiting eagerly to hear what capital means from you." Harry got up and left, his departing figure exuding arrogance. Quite amusing. My father always told me to be modest. With our family's assets in the billions, who do I need to boast to? Why do these small capitalists with a few million love to make a big deal out of themselves? Harry does, and so does Kent. I chuckled and shook my head, looking at the girl who came with Harry. "Stay away from him, too dirty." The girl came over, looking at me admiringly. "You were so cool just now, great figure, long legs. Can I add you on WeChat?" Novia laughed and came over to hug me. "No, she's mine." The girl smiled sweetly. "Okay, I'll listen to you, stay away from him."
Bye. Bye.
I waved. Do good deeds daily, starting with myself. Harry probably filed a complaint with Kent, and soon enough, I received a call from Kent. Don't take Harry's words to heart, I've talked to him. He won't do anything to you, but Amanda, starting a company really isn't a wise move. Oh well, if it's not wise, then it's not. I'm just here to have fun, as long as I'm happy. Thank you for the warning. Whether it's wise or not, I'll decide for myself. Kent was silent for a moment. Amanda, I'll say this one last time, I don't want us to be enemies, but I won't show mercy either. I'll wait and see. I hung up the phone. Kent's harsh words will surely be followed by actions. If he's tough, then don't blame me for being tougher. Chapter 6. I was so busy with the new company that I completely forgot about my marriage, until half a month later when I received a call from Patrick, asking me where I was. I'm at home. I haven't been going out much lately, just no time for it, which led to Novia complaining about me constantly. Patrick's calm voice came through. I'm at home too, didn't see you. What does he mean? I'm really at home, you don't need to beat around the bush, don't worry, I have boundaries. Patrick didn't say anything else. Do you have something else to say? Patrick asked. Which home are you at? Of course, I'm at my home. Wait a minute. Oh right, Patrick and I have a new home, it's Patrick's villa, which was renovated a long time ago, but we never lived there. He even gave me a key. But after the registration, he went on a business trip, so I've been living at home. My own home. Suddenly, I have another home, I'm not used to it at all. It's late today, I'll come over tomorrow. Okay. Patrick agreed very readily. The next day, after finishing breakfast, I continued to focus on the company's affairs. The preliminary work was very complex, and since I'm the kind of person who likes to be hands-on in everything, I was getting busier by the day. I worked until past 6, dragging my tired body back home. Just as I collapsed on the sofa, my mom came down from upstairs, showcasing her new cheongsam design from every angle. Darling, does it look good? It looks great. I stood up. Mom, this is really nice. My mom beamed. You have one too, it's in your closet, go try it on. I immediately went upstairs to the closet to try on the cheongsam. Surprisingly, it highlighted my good figure perfectly, emphasizing my curves and long legs. I even fell in love with myself. At that moment, my phone rang. Patrick?
Oh no.
I quickly realized what was happening and grabbed my bag, heading downstairs. Mom, I have to go. My mom caught up a few steps. Where are you going? Back home. Isn't this your home? I turned around. Mom, I got married. My mom. Patrick is back? I nodded. I really did inherit a bit of my mom's confusion. Chapter 7. When I arrived at the new house, the housekeeper told me that Patrick was in the study. I hesitated at the door before knocking and entering. Patrick looked up from his documents, and for some reason, his expression seemed to brighten slightly. Maybe I was mistaken. I suddenly felt nervous, opened my mouth a bit dryly, and said, I've been so busy lately, sometimes I come home very late, you don't have to wait for me. Patrick lowered his head. This person is truly an iceberg, even the hairs near him are standing up from the cold. As I was about to leave, I heard Patrick say, I was just asking if you're coming back for dinner. Oh, okay. I nodded, hesitated for a moment, then said, You're busy, I'll head out first. I quickly walked out, otherwise I'd freeze to death. Standing in the corridor, I felt a bit lost. Where is my room? Wouldn't it be embarrassing to ask someone where it is? I heard a faint sound behind me, I turned around and saw Patrick coming out of the study, looking quite surprised. He clearly looks like a workaholic, why is he coming out? Patrick also seemed puzzled. Do you have something else to do? I hesitated for a moment, then decided to just ask directly. Where am I staying? Patrick froze. His silence made me feel like I did something wrong. Okay, I admit that I've been staying at my own house these past few days. Patrick walked over and opened a door. Here. I immediately followed him, and Patrick added. The walk-in closet is next door. Thank you. This is nothing like a married couple, more like strangers. But that's fine, let's just consider it a business partnership. However, I didn't expect that despite being like an iceberg, my business partner was quite considerate. After dinner, I went back to my room to take a bath. When I came out, I saw Patrick sitting on the living room couch with his laptop on his lap, looking like he was going to sleep there. Truly like a married couple. I glanced at the towel around me, tugged it up a bit, and walked over. I'm done bathing, it's your turn. I repeated. Go take a shower. Patrick paused for a moment, glanced at me, then at his computer, nodded, closed the computer, and went to the bathroom. Did he misunderstand something? I just repeated the words because they didn't sound right, I wasn't in a rush. Chapter 8. I closed my eyes in regret. After a while, Patrick came out, dressed in pajamas. I was lying on one side of the bed, chatting with Novia. Novia asked me, "Will you two spark love tonight?" How would I know? Without replying to Novia, I locked the screen, put my phone aside, and gave Patrick a forced smile. For the first time, I felt like my smile was so stiff and unnatural. Patrick got into bed too. As he approached, my heart began to race nervously, almost unbearable. But it shouldn't be a big deal. Patrick is such a cold person, he looks like he's celibate. I comforted myself, feeling a bit more relaxed. Suddenly, Patrick's deep voice sounded beside my ear. "Should I turn off the lights?" Huh? I was stunned. No need. I wasn't sleepy, no need to turn off the lights. Okay. Patrick responded, and then. How did he end up here?
Oh no.
That's not what I meant. The next morning when I woke up, I found myself in Patrick's arms. Just the thought of him opening his eyes later and looking at me made me so awkward that my toes curled up. I need to leave. I gently removed Patrick's hand from my waist, really gently, but he still woke up. Here it comes. I met Patrick's gaze, feeling awkward to the point of scalp tingling. After a moment, I finally figured out what to say. "Hello?" I was met with a strange silence in response. The little devil in my heart roared, scolding me from head to toe. What in the world is this, hello? Patrick probably hadn't faced this situation before, clearly hesitated for a moment, then finally spoke. "Morning." The next second, we both released each other. I immediately got out of bed and hurried into the bathroom. Before I could even brush my teeth, Patrick came in. We stared at each other, not knowing what to do next. First marriage, no experience. Feeling like a guest, I thought I should be reserved, so I said, "Why don't you go first?" Patrick pointed to the washstand. "I'll take a shower." "Oh, okay." I nodded. Patrick turned around to get a towel. In my mind, I screamed for help. The bathroom door was glass. Marriage isn't easy. Patrick then turned and headed to the bathroom, directly undressing to take a shower. Wow, he wasn't even embarrassed. He truly is a boss. Looks like I still have a lot to learn. Chapter 9. The annoying morning routine finally ended. I got dressed and went downstairs. When I reached the corner, I saw someone sitting on the couch. He waved and greeted me. "Hi, Mrs. Vanderbilt." I hesitated for a moment, quickened my pace, went down, and shook hands with the person. "I'm Ivan. Patrick and I grew up together, studied abroad together. Let me put it this way, we used to be as close as two peas in a pod." I couldn't help but laugh at Ivan's words. Patrick slowly came downstairs, stopped next to me, and coldly asked Ivan, "Why are you here?" Ivan smirked. "Just came to see when you and your wife would wake up." "It's too early, weren't you tired last night?" "Get lost." Patrick kicked Ivan lightly, looking displeased. Ivan quickly changed his playful expression. "Sorry, Mrs. Vanderbilt. I have a sharp tongue, but my heart is in the right place." I smiled and said, "It's okay, just joking." Patrick, however, was relentless. "Some jokes are not funny, you should know your limits." Ivan nodded. I felt a slight movement in my heart, recalling that Kent never seemed to stand up for me in front of his buddies. Once you face the truth, everything that happened before can be seen clearly. I blame myself for being blinded by love and not seeing things clearly. I chuckled lightly, then realized my behavior might have been inappropriate, quickly concealing any hint of coldness. "He's the chairman of Erosion Group. If you need anything, just ask him." Patrick introduced me. Of course, I knew about Erosion Group, with over 90% of its business overlapping with Chandler Group. It's a leading company in the industry. Is Patrick trying to network for me? Does he know something?
Yeah.
Mrs. Vanderbilt, I heard you started your own company. If you need anything, just let me know. Don't be fooled by my appearance, I'm quite capable. Ivan patted his chest. That's great, I won't hold back in the future. Please take care of me. Take care of each other, take care of each other. Ivan laughed loudly. For some reason, Patrick kicked him again, this time harder than before. Chapter 10. Around 10 o'clock, I received a call from the director of Chandler Group's Pembroke branch, asking to meet with me. I had a rough idea of what the Pembroke director wanted to discuss. Sure enough, as soon as we met, the Pembroke director got straight to the point. Amanda, I've discussed with the board of directors. Everyone wants you to come back. Your contributions to the company over these 3 years have been remarkable. The company needs you, so why don't you come back? Name your terms. The Pembroke director was genuinely considering the company's interests, something Kent failed to acknowledge. Up to now, he still thought highly of himself. These past few days, I felt Kent was suppressing me. It's quite ridiculous how I was once blinded, and now it's his turn. I smirked. Pembroke director, you're overestimating me. I'm just a secretary. The company can do without me. It's no big deal. The Pembroke director looked serious. I heard about you starting your own company. Although you're talented, running a business alone isn't easy. I understand your youthful enthusiasm, but I still want to tell you, coming back would be a win-win situation. I won't come back. I said firmly. The Pembroke director fell silent and nodded. All right, looks like I'm getting old and can't do much. Kent has now brought Monica into the company and even handed her important positions. This move is a huge mistake, and now you refuse to come back. With that, the Pembroke director sighed. What did you say? The flames of anger began to burn in my heart. Kent brought Monica into the company? Huh, a family business, huh? He really thinks highly of himself. A rookie leading troops, is that so? Fine. This makes it convenient for me. I can take them both down together. My dad gave me a 32-story building. This is too much. Dad, my company has just started. A small space would do. A small space? My dad pondered for a moment. No, you find a place you like and buy it. That night, I called Novia to accompany me in choosing a location. As soon as I hung up the phone, Patrick's voice rang out. You want a smaller place?
Yeah.
The company has just started, no need for something so big. I walked over. Do you have any recommendations? No. But I have a small space, want to check it out together tomorrow? Patrick, the big shot, asked. Okay. I nodded. But how did Patrick, the big shot, have a small space? The next day, I found out. Compared to the few large buildings my dad gave me, this place is indeed a bit small. Just 7 floors. Patrick led me in, everything inside was new, and everything was complete, I didn't need to buy anything. Are you satisfied? Patrick asked. Of course, I was satisfied, and I had one less thing to worry about. Are you really sure about selling this place to me? Won't you feel reluctant? You must really like this place, right? Patrick scanned around. Well, I bought this place the year I graduated from high school, it's also the first company I started on my own. I was slightly surprised. So, it held sentimental value. Then are you willing to sell it to me? Are you really willing? Patrick withdrew his gaze and looked at me quietly, not willing. I probed a bit more. But I also understood, if it were me, I definitely wouldn't sell such a sentimental place. Then why did he bring me here? Patrick, so, I plan to give it to you. I was shocked. Give it to me? For free. But. Patrick raised an eyebrow slightly, there seemed to be a hint of emotion between his usually calm brows, but I couldn't quite figure out what it was. But what? I smiled. So, Patrick, the big shot, also does unprofitable deals, huh? Patrick looked meaningful. I will make a profit from this. Well, this is called casting a long line to catch a big fish. Chapter 11. On the day of the company's opening, Ken also sent a basket of flowers. Did he think he was being generous? I directly had someone throw his flower basket out. For me, that wasn't being generous, it was being unlucky. The flower basket sent by Patrick, the big shot, looked much better to me. Ivan also came. Mrs. Vanderbilt, congratulations, congratulations. I'll say it again, if you need any help, just say it. We are all family, sharing resources. In that case, I won't be polite. I patted Ivan's shoulder. During this time we've spent together, I really liked this kid. After the ribbon cutting, I took everyone inside for a tour. My parents and Patrick didn't come. Patrick didn't come because we haven't made it official yet. Businessmen are all about profit. Announcing our marriage will definitely bring a lot of benefits to both of our families. The stock price will also skyrocket. We can't just announce it casually, we need to maximize the benefits this news will bring. Making the most of everything. My dad didn't come because I didn't invite him. Right now, I'm playing games with Kent. When the big boss makes a move, what's the point of playing anymore? It's boring. There's a dinner party in the evening, with some good friends from my previous circle invited, including Novia, and Ivan also came. I was chatting with Ivan when Novia suddenly nudged me and looked towards the entrance of the banquet hall. It was Kent and Monica. I invited Kent, after all, I need to show some generosity. I greeted them with a smile. Welcome, there are too many people here, I may not be able to attend to everyone properly, please bear with me. Kent glanced around. Indeed, there are quite a few people, your network is wide. I smiled without saying a word. But how come I don't know any of these people? Monica asked softly. I chuckled. Of course, you don't know them. These are all real big shots who don't show up easily. Who have you met in your little circle? Ivan walked over at that moment and stood beside me. Seeing Ivan, Kent was visibly surprised, looking at me in disbelief. I raised an eyebrow. Do I need to introduce you too? I think you've already had several dealings before. Kent's expression stiffened a bit, but he quickly regained his composure, extending his hand towards Ivan with a smile. Ivan, nice to meet you. Ivan slowly reached out his hand, about to shake hands with Kent, then he scratched the back of his head, made a sound, huh, and said. Who are you? Have we done business together? Chapter 12. I clearly saw Kent's eye twitch for a moment. Everyone is waiting, I'll go over and help you entertain them first. Ivan raised an eyebrow and walked away. Kent took a step forward. When did you and Ivan become so close? Is he questioning me? It seems like President Mu asked an inappropriate question, right? This is my private matter. Kent tightened his jawline, staring at me as if trying to see through me. He's anxious, he's anxious. Kent's phone suddenly vibrated, he answered the call, and after hearing something on the other end, he frowned and looked displeased at Monica. Monica froze. I see. Kent hung up, pursed his lips, and asked Monica in a deep voice. Was it you who signed the final deal with Far East? Monica hesitated and nodded. Yes, I signed it. Is there a problem? You. Kent gritted his teeth, glanced at me, and pulled Monica towards the balcony. What's going on? I should care for my guests. I followed them. Kent's voice sounded slightly angry. Did you not see such an obvious data error? Do you know how much loss you've caused the company? Monica explained frantically. I double-checked everything, how could there be a mistake? Now they're here to confront us, are you suggesting I set you up? Kent questioned sharply. A few seconds later, Monica's sobbing could be heard. Why are you so angry? I didn't do it on purpose. When Kent and Monica came out, Monica's eyes were red. Seeing me, Monica immediately lowered her head. Kent paused, wanting to say something but hesitated. I smiled faintly. You are my guests, if there's any dissatisfaction with the service, please let me know instead of arguing. Kent's face darkened, saying, I have something to attend to, I'll leave first, and he left with Monica. No wonder the Pembroke directors came to find me. Continuing like this, I won't even need to take action, the Chandler Group building will collapse on its own. Mrs. Vanderbilt, why did they leave? Ivan came over and asked quietly. I smiled, internal matters. Ivan had a mischievous expression. Oh, they already have internal problems right after leaving you? That won't do, they're self-destructing from within without you doing anything. It seems like even Ivan knows about me and Kent. How much does Patrick know then? I pulled Ivan to the balcony, hesitated for a moment, and asked. Do you know about me and Kent? Chapter 13. Ivan replied naturally. Yes. I swallowed nervously and asked. How much do you know? Ivan said. I know everything. I was shocked. I haven't publicly disclosed my relationship with Kent. How did you find out? Ivan squinted. Mrs. Vanderbilt, have you forgotten? We've crossed paths before, even though I didn't care much about Chandler, I got quite a beating from you last time. What does that have to do with you knowing about me and Kent? At most, he knew I was Kent's strategist. Ivan paused slightly, with a puzzled look on his face. Huh? Aren't you and Kent in a superior-subordinate relationship? What other relationship is there? I was momentarily speechless. How did I give myself away like that? Ivan squinted slightly. You two have something going on. I remained silent. Feeling awkward, huh? I stayed silent. Having a lover's quarrel? I remained silent. My series of silence to Ivan was as good as admitting it. He suddenly became very excited. Damn. I thought you two were having a work-related issue, that's why you came out alone to face him. I didn't expect you two to be exes, making each other so jealous. Stop talking. Please. So, is Patrick also thinking the same way? This is bad, Ivan knows, how far is Patrick from knowing? In the evening, it was Ivan who drove me back. He insisted on doing so, I felt like he wanted to report to Patrick along the way. No, I have to please Ivan. Once we entered the villa, I immediately had someone pour tea for Ivan. By the way, when are you free? Come over to my place as a guest, I'll personally cook for you. Ivan was pleasantly surprised. Mrs. Vanderbilt, you can cook too? Why call me Mrs. Vanderbilt? Just call me Manda, that's fine. I smiled very friendly. Ivan glanced behind me, not sure what he was looking at, seemed a bit nervous. Isn't this inappropriate? What's inappropriate about it? You and Patrick get along so well, wearing the same pants, from now on, let's both wear the same. Well. Ivan suddenly stood up, leaning against the sofa. I hadn't finished my sentence. He looked like he had seen a ghost, slowly moving towards the door. It's getting late, I should go. As soon as he finished speaking, he turned around and ran off like a flash. Unbelievable. I muttered to myself. As I turned around, I let out a loud scream. When did Patrick show up? Why didn't I hear a sound? Chapter 14. You. What are you doing? Can't you make a noise? You scared me to death. But what I ended up saying was, hello there. After saying that, I wished I could find a hole to hide in. Amanda, you are such a fool, why do you fall apart in front of Patrick, the big shot? Did I scare you? Patrick asked indifferently. But he didn't look guilty at all. I didn't dare let Patrick, the big shot, feel guilty towards me, so I quickly shook my head. No. Patrick stared at me coldly. Is that so? I thought I scared you, you're starting to talk nonsense. My mind raced, but I couldn't figure out which of my words was nonsense. But I knew Patrick, the big shot, was in a very bad mood now. I should keep my distance. I'll go up first, the big shot, you should rest early, don't tire yourself out too much. A flash of an unknown sharp look passed through Patrick's eyes. What did you call me? I hesitated, my brain couldn't quite process it. The big shot. Patrick nodded, repeating those two words. The big shot, you seem really confused. With that, he turned and went upstairs, leaving me with a cold back. What's wrong? Why is he taking it out on me when he's in a bad mood? I grumbled to myself and went upstairs. Patrick wasn't in the room, great, tonight I'm going to rebel, I won't cooperate with him. In the middle of the night, I touched my swollen face and fell into a deep sleep. When I woke up the next morning, the grievances in my heart kept coming out, whispering softly. You upset outside, come back and take it out on me. Patrick silently stared at me. After a long time, he finally spoke. I didn't upset outside. I was puzzled and turned to look at him. Patrick said. People outside wouldn't dare to upset me. Who could that be? Certainly not me. Chapter 15. I suspect it was Ivan who upset Patrick, he's a foul-mouthed person, provoking someone is his specialty. Damn it, he really got me into trouble. I have to get some benefit from him to soothe my unwilling heart. But Ivan denied it. How is that possible? Patrick wouldn't bear to be upset with me. Do you think it's appropriate to say that in front of Patrick's wife? Oh, speaking of him, Patrick just called me. Ivan smirked, showing me his phone, answered the call in front of me. Right now? Is it that urgent? Okay, I'll come over now. After hanging up, Ivan said. Patrick has something urgent, I have to go, see you later. As I watched his retreating figure, I fell into deep thought. Did my presence, to some extent, ruin the friendship between the two of them? I returned to the company with this question in mind, just in time for an interview. Today was especially busy. At 6 o'clock, I received a call from Patrick. He asked me on the phone. Do you have time tonight? With various things on my plate, I wasn't in a rush at the moment, so I said I had time. Patrick replied casually. I'll come pick you up. Okay. I hung up the phone. But why was Patrick coming to pick me up? After about 20 minutes, Patrick called again, saying he was downstairs. I was ready, so I grabbed my bag and went downstairs. Once in the car, as soon as I sat down, Patrick handed me a bouquet of roses, red roses. My mind buzzed with confusion as I looked at Patrick. Are you trying to pursue me? Patrick remained silent. The driver said nothing up front, making the atmosphere inside the car extremely quiet. In this eerie atmosphere, a suspicious blush appeared on Patrick's handsome face. Patrick, blushing. I stared at Patrick's face as if I had discovered a new continent, refusing to look away. Seeing Patrick blush was unprecedented. Could I be the first person to witness this? I suspected that I might be silenced. Patrick cleared his throat awkwardly, his deep gaze locked on my eyes, and he let out a soft, I opened my mouth. With a serious and earnest tone, Patrick's voice sounded like he was discussing a contract. Yes, I am pursuing you. Chapter 16. A thunderous roar sounded above my head, my brain went blank for a moment, but looking at Patrick again, why was he so cute? The stark contrast of Patrick's mo side, only I could see it. I couldn't help but burst into laughter. What's so funny? Patrick furrowed his brows. Isn't this the process of pursuing someone? That's what Ivan said. So, he had sought Ivan's advice today. Of course, Patrick himself wouldn't know how to pursue someone. Not really. Seeing Patrick's self-doubt, I quickly explained. I mean, that's not what I meant. I took the bouquet of flowers. This indeed is part of the pursuing process. So, where are we headed next? Patrick, always serious and never one to joke around, said. Dinner and a movie. He added. I've already booked a restaurant and movie tickets. I really can't imagine what it would be like to date someone as serious as Patrick. Just thinking about it makes me laugh, Not in a mocking way, but in a very cute way. I nodded. Okay. The driver started the engine. Patrick fell silent. I turned my head slightly, catching his gaze, and he looked back at me as if asking what was on my mind. I cleared my throat. Patrick, can I ask you a very private question? Patrick glanced at the driver in front. What? Where was he going with this? Have you ever been in a relationship before? No. I couldn't help but ask further. Is it because you haven't met anyone you liked? Sort of. Patrick paused for a moment. And also because I've been too busy all the time. I understood. I see. You're always busy with work, so when you married me, you really treated our marriage as a business deal, right? With the status and power of the Vanderbilt and Harrington families, the union of our two families would definitely be a case of 1 + 1 being greater than 2. So when my dad suggested that I marry Patrick, I agreed immediately because at that time, I was only focused on building my career. I assumed Patrick had the same mindset back then. Patrick confirmed. That was indeed the case at first. I leaned towards him. And now? Patrick hesitated, blushing even more this time. Wow, Patrick, the big shot, looked so cute. I really wanted to tease him a bit. Patrick glanced at the driver again, sounding a bit awkward. I got you flowers. Oh, I see. It means he likes me. I had more questions, but with the driver present, it wouldn't be appropriate for Patrick to answer. I'll ask when we get home. Patrick had booked a restaurant under his own industry for dinner, ensuring good privacy. He also bought tickets for the last row in the corner of the movie theater. I thought, even though he likes me, he still has many considerations in his mind. He probably believes that the timing and circumstances have to be perfect before announcing our relationship, in order to maximize the benefits from this marriage. Suddenly, I felt a wave of disappointment. But Amanda, what are you expecting anyway? When you start expecting things, that's when you lose. I've already lost once, and I won't let myself lose a second time. I will focus on managing my marriage well. Moreover, even though Patrick likes me now, I won't throw myself into it like before. Chapter 17. I gave my heart and soul to my work. The company is gradually on the right track. Although the scale cannot be compared to Chandler's listed company, it is showing a trend of slow but steady growth. In the current epidemic situation, I am already very satisfied. Moreover, my connections are strong. I snatched several major projects from Kent's hands. Finally, Kent couldn't sit still. At a business dinner, he dragged me to a corner where no one was present and stared at me fiercely. Amanda, are you trying to get back at me, right? I smiled openly. Do you even need to ask? Kent didn't expect me to admit so readily. He paused for a moment, then suddenly burst into laughter, looking smug and arrogant. Do you hate me, Amanda? You must hate me to the core, right? I tilted my head slightly, smiling at him. Kent took a step closer, narrowing the distance between us. He slowly lowered his head towards my ear, whispering. Do you know why you hate me? Let me tell you the reason, because you still love me, Amanda. Hate comes from love, you love me. He was truly cruel. If he was right, his words would turn into sharp knives, cutting my heart into pieces and throwing them into the cold wind. I had said, Kent, you're ruthless, but I will be even more ruthless than you. But I have to emphasize one thing, he was wrong, extremely wrong. I met Kent's triumphant gaze head-on. Do you know how I feel when I see you now? It's like seeing a fly. Do you like flies? I smirked, intentionally smiling in a charming and provocative manner. I don't hate you, I just dislike you, and regret ever being interested in you. Kent's face suddenly darkened, seeming unwilling, he grabbed the back of my head and leaned in for a kiss. I turned my head, and he kissed the air. A sudden sound of shattering broke the moment. Kent, what are you doing? Both Kent and I turned our heads simultaneously, only to see Monica standing not far away. She was wearing a silver white dress, her hair styled in a low bun at the back, adorned with a jade hairpin, with pearls hanging down. Swaying along with her earrings, matching the tears on her face. Truly beautiful, yet fragile, as if she would shatter at a touch. Men probably like this type, wishing to protect her with their lives. Kent slowly let me go, glanced at me, then walked over to Monica, saying in a low voice. Nothing, let's go. Monica was impressive in this regard, not causing a scene, and followed Kent. As they reached the entrance of the banquet hall, she glanced at me sideways, the tears in her eyes turning into a cold light. I suddenly felt nauseous, disgusted by Kent. Chapter 18. I received a call from Monica, and I wasn't surprised at all. In a cafe, Monica and I sat face to face. She had that air of tranquility and unattainability. Amanda, Kent and I are getting married. I raised an eyebrow. Congratulations. Monica chuckled lightly. You don't have to pretend. I know you're jealous of me. You still like Kent, but the person he's marrying is me. Monica gently smiled, then looked out the window. Perhaps in your eyes, Kent doesn't love me that much, but he still chose to marry me. That's men, always putting their interests first. She looked at me again with a hint of smugness in her eyes. Because of me, my family can help him. Amanda, if you want to blame someone, blame your poor background. It's normal for him not to want you because you don't have a strong family support. I didn't respond, just staring at her. I met you today just to tell you what happened last night. I don't want it to happen again. Amanda, you're not my match. I admit you're pretty, but with your ordinary background, you'll never be my match. I remained silent. I don't want to hurt you, so don't push me. Even though it's a society ruled by law now, if my family wants someone to have a hard time, there are still many ways. Take care of yourself. After saying these words, Monica left. I carefully pondered Monica's words just now. The more I thought about it, the funnier it seemed. I laughed for a while, took a deep breath, and left. Unexpectedly, as soon as I got in the car, I received a call from Kent. He said he had something to tell me. I was a bit impatient. My time has been wasted by you two all day, please understand that my time is precious, okay? However, I think Kent and I will never have any dealings for the rest of our lives. After all, I still want to see his fate with my own eyes. After some thought, I agreed to meet him. He asked to meet me halfway up the mountain, with lush trees still around this season and a wide road behind, occasionally cars speeding by. Kent looked ahead and slowly spoke. Monica and I are getting married. Your future wife just told me that. Kent turned to look at me. But do you know, Amanda? I suddenly realized, I've fallen in love with you. I was shocked. What is this nonsense? I looked at him like he was an idiot, but in Kent's eyes, my gaze should have been surprised and affectionate. He actually said, if you're willing, we can still be together, I just can't give you marriage. Chapter 19. Kent smiled gently, with a touch of tenderness. We can also have our own child. Rest assured, I will treat the child you have with Monica the same way, or even better, except for the title, I can provide everything else for our child. Kent looked at me as if he were bestowing something. So, I've told you what's in my heart, do you have anything else to say? I rolled my eyes lightly. Amanda, you're a smart woman. It's not easy to cross the class divide, but if you're with me, I'll bring you into high society. I'm not the same person I used to be, you know. Everything you want, except marriage, I can give you. The more he spoke, the more excited he became, suddenly reaching out to hold my shoulders. Don't you realize how lucky you are? I smiled, gesturing my hand towards Kent. He smiled contentedly, lowered his head slowly to kiss me. I slapped Kent hard across the face, the sound crisp and loud. Kent was stunned, then anger surged. Amanda, do you really not know what's good for you? You want to marry me, it's never going to happen in this lifetime. But as I said, except for the title, everything Monica has, you'll have too, and even more from me. Because I know I owe you, I will do my best to make it up to you. What else do you want? You idiot. I said before getting into the car and leaving. I shouldn't have come on this trip, it's as disgusting as chewing maggots. That man below, with his words just now, even discarded the last bit of his dignity. I don't want to see Kent anymore, I don't even have the thought of revenge left. I don't want to see Monica either, I just hope she'll take care of herself. But of course, I ended up seeing them again. You see, I received an invitation to a top-notch banquet, hoping I could attend. It's a secret organization for elite academics, and everyone who can attend this banquet is a top-notch figure from all walks of life. I received this invitation naturally because of my parents. It's a great networking opportunity, so of course, I'll go. When I arrived, I saw Kent and Monica. They seemed surprised to see me. Amanda, why are you here? I couldn't be bothered with them, so I just went inside. Monica's voice rang from behind, smiling. She must be here as a companion. It's always like this at such events, with one top figure, the lower the rank, the lower the status. Well, she has vision, but not much else. Chapter 20. I went in with the invitation, and people were already arriving. As soon as I entered, a queen-like woman with an imposing air came up to greet me. Miss Harrington, welcome, welcome, today is your stage, we're all waiting for you. I smiled. Monica was right just now, at such events there's usually only one top figure, there won't be scenes like in TV dramas with multiple evenly matched people gathering and vying against each other. And today, I am that top figure. All thanks to my parents' connections. As for how they know me, it's because a few years ago, my mom and I attended once. This time, I could attend on my own. Mom, I've made it. As I took my seat, Kent and Monica came in. They were very intimate, introducing themselves to everyone one by one. When they reached me, they both skipped over me and introduced themselves to the queen lady beside me. The queen lady, Lilith, frowned slightly and looked at the invitation in their hands. Who sent you the invitation? Upon hearing this, Kent and Monica hesitated, and finally, Monica spoke first. This was sent as an invitation in the name of the banquet. Lilith nodded. Fine, go sit over there. Kent and Monica glanced at me, but didn't dare to make a scene, and went to sit in a corner. They dared to show off in front of me. After eating, drinking, chatting, and laughing for a while, everyone began taking photos. I was seated in position C, but Monica pulled me up. She wasn't rude, rather very intimate, smiling and pointing to the seat at the very end. Amanda, you sit there. Lilith looked at her incredulously. What did you say? Monica still smiled gracefully. Sorry, Amanda is new to this kind of occasion and doesn't quite understand the rules. Amanda, how can you sit in position C? Kent also seemed to think I was embarrassing myself, his breath heavy. Where did you get your invitation from? Amanda, this is not a place for your antics, you should leave. I felt deeply speechless towards these two idiots. Can't they see that everyone is treating me with respect? Whispers started around us. Who is this? Why have I never seen them before? Shouldn't we just have them leave? Where are the security guards? Kent, not knowing how to approach the situation, actually thought I was embarrassing him. He grabbed my arm and started leading me out. You leave first, we'll talk later. I couldn't be bothered to respond. What are you doing? Lilith questioned sternly. Kent, with a hint of apology on his face, said. Sorry, I'll take her out right now. Lilith stepped forward, brushing Kent's hand away. Miss Harrington is a respected guest of mine, what right do you have to take away my guest? Kent was taken aback. What? Lilith didn't want to say much to them, probably feeling embarrassed, she directly called the security. Please escort the two of them out. At this point, I don't know who spoke up. They seem to be quite familiar with Miss Harrington. How did Miss Harrington make friends with people like them? Who does Miss Harrington think she can be friends with? Several people came over to comfort me. Miss Harrington, don't be angry, let's continue. It's really unfortunate, why don't you two leave now? Kent and Monica's shocked gazes turned towards me. You are Miss Harrington? Why aren't you two leaving? Lilith scolded loudly, even someone with the best temper was pushed to their limit. Get out, where are the security guards? So embarrassing, where did these two beggars come from, running to our banquet to beg, making a scene? The invitations must be fake too. In the end, amidst mocking laughter, Kent and Monica were escorted out by the security. Chapter 21. I also invested in a few small companies at the banquet. As for the Chandler side, I think the acquisition process should be expedited. It's boring now that they know my identity, not fun anymore. The next day, I received another call from Kent. His tone was noticeably more respectful, at least not as arrogant and vicious. Amanda, can we meet? I smiled. Sure. I wanted to see what he was capable of. Kent, harsh towards others, harsh towards himself. As soon as we met, he apologized to me. I'm sorry for the past, Amanda. I have broken off the engagement with Monica. Can you give me another chance? Kent looked at me affectionately. I truly love you. I've told you before, at that time I didn't know your identity. I didn't love you because you're a Harrington heiress. Amanda, you should feel my sincerity, right? I waved my hand. Wait a moment, I feel nauseous, I might throw up. Kent was speechless. I came to see you today because I want to tell you that I'm very interested in your company. I'm preparing for an acquisition. Get ready, as for anything else, I'm not interested. After saying that, I was about to leave, but Kent pulled me into his arms, holding me tightly. I won't let you go. I've lost you once, I won't again. I pushed him away. Kent, I'm still in a friendly acquisition phase now. If there's another time, you just wait. I won't let you off easily. Kent didn't make any further moves, and I left. But I never expected that Kent and I would end up in the news. Patrick saw it too. He showed me the photos and asked. Is he your ex? I shook my head repeatedly. No. Patrick's face turned extremely cold. Well, Patrick definitely doesn't believe it.